God's got you right now. If you're walking through a refining fire season and you just gave your life to the Lord and things kind of turned out not how you hoped and everything's going sideways, then this video's for you. I'm glad you clicked on it. I just want to encourage you to say that God's got you right where you're at, right where you're supposed to be. There's no accident what you're going through, the refining fire, the reduction, the reducing of things in your life. He's revealing so much in that through the refining fire. You know, we're often compared to like a silver or gold. The magnificent thing that is true about that is that when we're thrown into a fire, when gold is thrown into the fire, impurities are the only thing that burn off, and the gold isn't harmed. The gold actually becomes more valuable through the fire. The impurities burn off, and through this refining fire he's taking you through this season, he's revealing to you the things that you've allowed to be attached to yourself that are impure, that are not of you, but that we've assimilated into ourselves like an identity. And I myself am walking proof of this. I just myself got out of this season. And that's why I wanted to sit down and record this because it's fresh for me. I can say I've been there. I feel that. So if you needed to hear that from at least one person on this planet that it's going to be all right, that he's got you, that Jesus has you, that you're going to make it through this and you're going to be better and you're going to shine brighter for him, take it from me. I'm that guy to tell you that right now. It's going to be okay because I know him. I know that he who began a good work will finish it in you. But that fire, that process, it's a process of revealing to you so many different things. And I can only speak from my own walk and my own journey, what I've been through. But he stripped away job, career, income, home, all of these things that I would have tied my identity and my worth into. He took it away. And he did it not because it needed to be proven to him that, oh, that I need to prove my loyalty to him. I mean, that's part of it. But what he's doing so much is proving the loyalty within me. He's revealing what is within you and what is within your heart through this fire. He already knows what's in your heart. He knows it better than you do, and he knows it better than you ever will. Think about that for a minute. He knows your heart better than even you do. This season, this purifying season, is about revealing to you what is in your heart. When something just feels so painful that's being stripped away, or we're losing something, or that we're being refined or renewed in this area of life. For me, it was like financials, relationships were part of that. All of these things where people come, people go, repairs happen. He strips us down to nothing. And I'm like, my rent is due tomorrow, and I have no idea how in the world he's going to pay it. And he shows up in miraculous ways. I have lived it. I am coming out of living that just now. And that's why I wanted to encourage you in this, that he is doing a good thing. Trust him. You need to have the faith that says, I walk by faith, not by sight, because the flesh wants to panic. The flesh wants to freak out and say, there's just no way. I give up. I'm off this ride. Trust him. He says so, so it will be so. And that doesn't mean that things won't happen that will get you to see that. And the Lord walked me through that even in my own journey of getting me to realize and see, like, hey, homelessness is not off the table when it comes to God. He doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't owe me this home. He doesn't owe me anything. And so he will do anything and everything within his power, which is anything, to get me to understand these things, these idols that I'm holding, to surrender them, to refine that, to remove that, and to make space for him to move in. And when he showed me that, like, hey, homelessness is not even off the table for me, I could take you there. I'm like, I want to get with the program, Lord. Like, help me, refine me, show me what it is you want me to see, because I do not want that. I want refinement, and we want the quick way out. Gold is not refined quickly. If you're trying to smelt something or create something out of iron or gold, if it's done too quickly, if it's removed too quickly, it will be no good. It'll be brittle. You might as well have not done it. You need to start the process over. And so the time matters in the refining fire. And in the same vein, if it's sitting there too long, it will burn up. And his timing is perfect. So trust him because he says so, because he's good for it. And I would challenge you to think, like, have courage and have faith. Take faith that he's taking you through this. He loves you so much that he doesn't want to leave you stuck where you are. But woe to the person, and I feel sorry and sad for the person that he does not discipline, that he doesn't chastise, because he who he disciplines, he loves, and he loves all people. But only those who say, yes, Lord, I'm in, I'm willing, I want to do this, will he take further in that. He's not going to force somebody to do it. And so if you're in that position and you said yes to him and you're going through it, just know that you're not alone and that he's good for it. He will come through, and be excited, be expectant of that. When you're feeling down and you feel like you have a lack of hope and you don't understand or you're confused, just hold on to the promises that he gives. He gives us so many promises in his word. He feeds the birds of the air. How much more valuable are we than they? Matthew 6:33, right? If we being evil know how to give good gifts to our children, how much more does he in our Father in heaven know how to give good gifts to us? Trust him that he has your best intentions at heart. And if you're a parent, you'll understand this. I'm a parent of 4 kids myself. Sometimes I allow my kids to work through something, not for the sake of, being mean or cruel, but I allow them to work through something in a controlled way that teaches them a lesson, that teaches them their own confidence and their own capabilities. But don't mishear me when I say that. I'm not trying to say that he's teaching us to be reliant without him. If anything, it's the opposite. He's teaching us to be reliant entirely on him, that despite whatever we feel we can accomplish, he can accomplish so much more through us. I just want to encourage you in that. And take heart. If you have big challenge and big refinement happening in your life, I would venture to say that he's gearing you up and setting you up for big blessing and big purpose and new walk in your life. There's so much green in between where we say yes, where we're given a promise, and to where that promise is actually fulfilled. Look at King David. David was anointed as king when he was a kid. Samuel came and anointed him, and it was proclaimed by God that this is the new king of Israel. He was a kid when that happened. And it was something like 10, 15 years went by that didn't happen yet. You think David doubted at any point in that time, or he felt like maybe God got it wrong, or maybe it just didn't happen? I'm sure he did, because that's the humanness in us that we want to doubt that, but still clinging to, I know you said this, despite what my circumstances say, I trust you to fulfill it. Faith is the assurance of knowing the outcome, knowing what God said without needing to know the process. We don't need to know how he's going to do it. We just know that he said he's going to do it. And there's a gap between where we can see and understand and where he's going to take us. That's the faith that's required. And David would live through so many things. Through King Saul, King Saul tried to kill him for so many years, and he thought that, what, I'm supposed to be king, and here I am running for my life from the current king. But even David recognized through all of that he wouldn't lay a hand on the Lord's anointed, because there's purpose and there's a special marking placed on that person. And so I have to believe that he still retained a hope and a faith and a knowing that it was his throne at that point also. His throne here on earth, not necessarily like, it's God's throne ultimately. You know what I mean? It was David's right to be the next king of Israel at that point in time. Even looking at Goliath, David faced Goliath when he was a young kid. That is seriously impressive the way he handled it. You have all the mightiest warriors of Israel telling God how big their problem is. You have all these guys telling God how big the giant is in front of them. And David's the only guy that recognized and stood up and said, wait a minute, what if we tell the giant how big our God is? There's a thought for you. And so speak that over your situation. Speak that over your mind and your emotions. Recognize what is truth, what is a lie. Recognize the problems that feel like problems, but they are refinements, and proclaim that God is greater and he is bigger and he will overcome. And release that over the spirit of anything, over your life, over your family, the spirit of poverty, the spirit of sickness, of disease, of anything that is holding you captive, that you have been fighting against, that he's working to free you from. Proclaim, instead of proclaiming to God how big the problem is, proclaim to your problem how big your God is, because he is so much greater than it. So take heart in knowing that God's got you right where you're supposed to be. And pray to him about timing. Pray to him about looking at numbers. Numbers matter so much when it comes to seasons and periods of time. The thing that the Lord revealed to me was the number 40. When I was going through my refining season, the number 40 is significant for refining and renewing and repurposing in people's lives. Moses was in the wilderness for 40 years, in 40-year segments. The Israelites themselves wandered for 40 years. There was 40 days that Goliath was on the battlefield taunting the armies of Israel. 40, a completion of 40 brings about refinement in the Lord's timing. And the Lord will save and redeem and sanctify in the 41st. 41st day is when David showed up. The 41st year is when the Israelites could enter the promised land. The 41st year is when Moses took charge and went back to Egypt to free his people. The 40 is important. The 40 is crucial in God's economy. And I'm not trying to say that it's that way for everybody. Sometimes it's 40 years. Sometimes it's 40 days, 40 weeks, 40 months. For me, it was 40 weeks. I'm currently in the middle of another refining process. I'm claiming his number 40. I'm in the number 40, the 40th month of a refining process for myself. There's purpose to that. It's not a formula. We can't put God in a box and pretend to know the future, but we can see the way he operates and we can see his patterns. Those are always consistent. And we can pray with purpose, with fervor over claiming and having faith that I know that he who started a good work will see it through to completion. And that faith says, even if this thing happens, even if this thing happens, I will still believe and be faithful. It doesn't say, what if this thing happens? Look at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego thrown into the fiery furnace. What do they say? They say, our God is bigger. We will not bow down to your God. They basically were thrown into the fiery furnace because they disobeyed the king. They wouldn't bow down to the God that they carved a statue of. They said, no, we're not going to do that. And they said, okay, we're going to kill you then. And they said, even if God allows us to be killed in the fire, he is still greater than your God. They didn't sit back and say, well, what if we die? You think you're going to die if you get thrown into a fiery furnace? Probably. They don't sit back and say, what if, what if? We say, even if this happens, God is greater. It's the heart posture. It's the mindset that says, despite whatever I think, what if is us grasping for control. It's us saying, I need to control the outcome of this. I need to understand the outcome of this for me to be okay with it. I need to have some semblance of understanding what's going to happen. The even if says, I don't need to know it. It's faith in the outcome, not needing to know the process. Despite what happens, even if that happens, God is still on the throne. What's the worst that could happen? I go to be with him for eternity? Sounds pretty good to me. There's always an even if. God is so much greater than your problems. Take heart. He loves you. He's refining you for a purpose. He has purpose and mission for you. Just surrender. Just allow him to work and thank him for loving you so much through it. God bless.